and this morning it is with myself and Peter and hopefully Stephen, the politics show. Loving for Britain special general election 2017, and we're live, and Tish has shared the show. Thank you, Tish.
Very good.
And also Corinda has shared the show. Thank you, Corinda. We much appreciate it. And I just want to check that we're actually live on Facebook. So just give me a second, Peter, while I crank up the machine. And yes, it says that we're live. So that's good. And just a minute. This will take a second or two. Take your seats.
Right.
Right, just give me a second. Right, I'm just going to share to my timeline. I'm getting questions from John in the background.
See that?
I did try to tell John that we're actually live, but that didn't have any effect. And thank you, Corinda, for confirming that. And good morning, Stephen.
Morning, Stephen. Morning, Peter.
Good morning.
And we are live with the politics show. Right now, we're in a privileged position today, because the traditional print media and broadcast media, because it's an election day, do not talk about politics. Is that right?
That's correct. Yeah.
I can't see why not.
No, I think we're okay. We can do what we want. We're the citizens of the country and can do and say whatever we want most days of the year, providing it's legal.
Lost your sound, John.
You lost whose sound? Peter?
I think he said he's lost your sound.
No, it's okay. My fault. Okay.
All right. Okay. As long as we're okay. And right. Okay. Now, just to confirm, we have Peter Stewart, Stephen Silk, and Stephen Healy. And we have Peter is a card-holding Conservative member.
Yeah.
Stephen is a card-holding Labour member. And I am a card-holding Lib Dem. So we've got all three shades of opinion here. We're going to agree on some things, but we won't agree on everything. I think the place to start, I'll drop down and bring the story up, but we'll set the background first, is that it's earlier this week, there was a publication in the German newspaper of a meeting held in Downing Street last week, where Theresa May invited Mr. Juncker, I'll call him, to dinner together with EU officials, and the Germans are saying it didn't go too well. And since then, Theresa May has said that the Europeans are trying to interfere in the British election. And it came up from this post. I'm going to go with
Okay.
So is he leaving us to that one, Peter?
all right. I was trying to, but we'll do it next time around. We've got to get this sorted out. But essentially, Nick Clegg, former leader of the Lib Dems, said that she's trying to use it to scare people. She's misrepresenting. Well, who's telling the truth? Who do we think is telling the truth, first of all?
None of them.
Ah.
Not
right,
a
okay.
single one of them. It goes down to the nub of this. Why did she call the election? She called the election so that she could get a huge majority and do what she wants. The Brexit situation helped her to make that decision. But at the end of the day, it's purely politics. And all of the issues you expect to hear about in an election, like the NHS, social care, spending, military spending, it's all being subsumed, or the Tories are trying to subsume it all under the Brexit banner, because they know that they've got a great opportunity to be in power for 5 more years. Somehow I detect at the moment, especially with the likes of Nick Clegg banging on about a second referendum, and even that's the wrong way to call it. I do detect that she's going to get a bloody nose on this, just because there's sort of there's a developing anti-Tory coalition coming along, and they're pointing out all of the nasty things that they've been doing with the austerity program that they created. And I detect a change in what I'm reading anyway. I must admit, I don't read the Tory rags, you know, but I do detect a change. Who knows? But then again, we might get some feedback today from the local elections. I mean, we haven't got one around here, but you never know. It's all going to be.
True. Yeah, we've got county elections and we've got council elections down here in Devizes and nationally. Right, Peter.
Right. Okay.
Mrs May or the EU? Who's telling the truth?
Well, I wouldn't trust the EU. I wouldn't trust them because they're under threat at the moment because they've got France has got a bit of a problem. They're worried that Marine Le Pen gets in, and all their cushy numbers in Brussels are maybe at risk, and they've got to be seen to give us a hard time, right? In their favour, making it in their favour, just to say, now, dare anyone else try to leave this club, just look at Britain. That's what you'll get from there. Now, the reason she's probably called it, she needs to have a strong government to go into this negotiation. What you've got to remember about Theresa May is she voted Remain. But, here's a woman that has said, the country has decided that we're coming out of the European Union. I am now leader, and I am going to make sure that we get the best deal coming out of the union, and to that effect, let's put it to the nation, do you want me to be the leader of this country to take us through? Or are you going to be surrender monkeys? Let's do it again until we get what we want. Oh, please, come with, get us out of here. Make it easy for us. No, we've got to be strong. And if Europe can't take that, well, that's fine. We've just got to get... Now, what the country should be doing is say, you know, Mrs May, you're right. We've voted out. Well, let's get behind you and back you all the way and make this country great again.
All right. Okay. I think we possibly all agree on one thing.
Really?
Two things possibly. One, that we are leaving, and two, that we want the best possible deal. Are we agreed on that bit?
Absolutely.
Okay. Yeah. Now, that means...
That's what do you call it, American mum's pie. That's just... Anybody can say that.
I did.
That's exactly it. And then, unless we're strong and stable, then it's all going to go wrong. Rubbish. We're being asked to. In fact, we're being asked to vote in a president. All the banners and the posters when she meets her faithful, not the real people, by the way. But it's all about her. Give me the strength.
It's not about her, it's about the country. It's about
what they're saying is, make me powerful and I will get you a great deal. She's got a bloody clue how to get a great deal. She has people around her. She's got David Davis, Fox person, and Christ's sake, Boris. You know, that's the dream team, is it? That's the dream team of who's going to save the...
The bear and Jeremy Corbyn.
Pardon?
The bear and Jeremy Corbyn will
That's your opinion, Pete. That's your opinion.
That's your opinion.
Yeah, absolutely.
Your opinion. I've listened to it.
Have you listened to Keir Starmer talking about what the Labour Party will actually do? I mean, they're going to keep the government... they would try to keep the government accountable for what they do. Because remember, we are leaving the EU. Fact. Okay,
Yeah.
and we're doing that. We are leaving the group of 28 to. I've just seen Tish's. Comments about haircuts.
Haircut 100s.
Haircut 100s. Yeah, where was I? Yeah, but the issue is, and the thing that we're not being told, because you can't be told what's going to happen in the future. The issue is whether we stay in the have access to the market, and it would appear that if we don't have access to the market, life is going to be more difficult. How much more difficult? That's again being debated. But to say that the Labour Party are wanting a second referendum is rubbish. They're
Indeed.
not. They're saying. I think that they're moving. I think they are moving closer to this, which is saying when the deal is up for finalising, then ask the people if they like that deal, and it would be a binary thing: either yes, you like the deal, or no, you don't like the deal. And the consequences of liking the deal would be that the country would be strong and stable and move forward. And the consequences of the country saying, bugger them, we're going to just leave and cut it all down. No deal. Will be horrendous, probably horrendous. So I'm just trying to suggest that the debate about a second referendum is false, fallacious, and I think the Liberals, I think your guys are actually pushing that, Stephen. But indeed, the issue is we're leaving the European Union, sure, but we would really quite like to have access to the single market.
Oh yeah, that's it. So that's the Lib Dem position.
It's not though. They're presenting it, I suggest, as we will have a second referendum without finishing the sentence.
Yeah, well,
and it gets caught up in the media, and you know what they're like.
All right. Okay.
Sorry.
No, this is what it's about. I mean, we went to our feelings here. Now, the next, but you mentioned debates a moment ago, and I'm just going to swap screens again because of the party leaders' reaction to having debates.
Oh, right, okay. Debates in television. Just what you're meaning. Yeah.
Can you see the picture?
To me, they're a waste of time. It's about assassinating each other as best as you can on television, and there's not enough time for debates. The debates are throughout the year in Parliament with the opposition and MPs standing up and giving questions. The debates are for the television people to make money and get people looking in and getting as many viewers, and they want to rule it. The problem is with the media is people like us, we can put on our own shows now and they want it all their own way. Well, guess what? We can get our information elsewhere now on the internet. These televised debates, we won today, but maybe we'll win next time. No, it's the long-term debate, right? It's just fancy showmanship as far as I'm concerned.
I agree totally with what you say there, Peter. I think it's a diversion.
Yes.
And they will all be being interviewed. I mean, this brings us to another of my pet peeves. You recall that Theresa May was interviewed by Marr and Heston on Sunday?
Yeah.
It was car crash time, but not just from her. I mean, you remember the Diane Abbott LBC interview, which Peter referred to earlier? That was car crash, absolute car crash. But allowed May to just waffle on about nothing for the whole of the interview. And the thing is, he bloody enjoys it too much. He really loves doing what he does. Talks to his mates, Alistair Campbell and can't remember who he was on with, Gove. Yeah. He enjoys the actual things. He enjoys hearing his own voice too much and doesn't, as Peter has suggested, doesn't ask the questions that we want asking. And until a debate is just a condensed version of that. So I agree with Peter. no point in national debates, greater cake.
No. Because I'll tell you something I seen over the weekend. Now, I'm not a UKIP supporter, right? Now, what did they do to Paul Nuttall? Talk about an assassination attempt. They got pictures of the place he was going to be an MP. How many people do you know are MPs that maybe live in London or they live in Brighton, yet they represent people far away in a different part? They set them up by putting pictures of the place. How many of these do you know? Have you ever seen that done to them? It was totally unfair. They were set them up as a hatchet job, and they've never done it to anybody else as far as I have seen. And that was the start of it. If it was with me, I would say, listen, I think it's a serious subject. I don't know that angles. Could you put your pictures away and maybe get on with real politics instead of trying to make a fool of me in television? And I won't be answering your games because you didn't tell me it was a game show. No, come on, hit me with a real thing. I thought it was an absolute disgrace because if you done it to a Labour MP, Liberal or whatever, there would have been outcry. But no, they can do it to UKIP, no problem whatsoever. It's just a case of bashing.
It is. And you remember the Ed Miliband beef burger incident?
Oh, yeah.
Yes, yeah.
Well, Theresa May had a chip butty, well, a pack of chips and a coffee incident. She obviously doesn't know what chips from a chippy actually taste like because of the look on her face. But it didn't get the sort of attention that Miliband got for a similar thing. Also, down in, what's the Toff that lost the by-election over the Heathrow airport thing.
Oh, yeah, I know who you're on about.
You know what I mean? The way he drank his pint showed that he was an obvious, okay, what next? Let's just... and he got slated for that. And if that's the way that they want to, if that's the way that we've got messages coming in now, if that's the way the debate is going, then yes, sod the TV. I apologise for that.
Be careful, we are live on Facebook.
Yeah.
Forget the TV debates. Just get a decent interview. I mean, Paxman towards the end was getting too snidey, too snarky, and he was actually a silly question in as well. Yeah. But I don't know if I want to say it out loud, but isn't Andrew Neil kind of one of the fiercest in a positive sense?
Yeah. Oh yeah,
Oh yeah.
He's one of the most incisive.
And he's very good at it as well, because if they don't answer the question, like you'll say to them, you've not answered the question, I'm not bothering with you anymore, get her off.
That's what I want. That's what I want.
I'll tell you what's going to be interested in Scotland this year now. You know, the MSPs up here, we're voting today as well. It'd be interesting to see how many Scottish MPs
Incredible.
Yeah.
It did the same as last week. It just refreshed.
Okay, no problem. So the Scottish Parliament, it'll be interesting to see, right, the proportion up here, who's going to be an MSPs, because they rule the Parliament up here at the moment.
It's not a parliamentary election.
No, we have got the Scottish Parliament elections. Remember, we've got a devolved government. Yes, it's so the MSPs are today, member of the Scottish Parliament. So there's MEPs and there's MSPs, and you've got your MPs.
No, we haven't. No.
We've got
there's the mayoral elections.
Yeah.
Two that'll be Birmingham or West Midlands and Manchester. And then there are some local elections.
Right.
Yeah.
But not MPs. Are you
no,
there are no MPs being elected today.
No, ours is the MSPs today.
Yeah.
We are voting for MSPs, members of the Scottish Parliament.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this is for
what's the current state? The SNP are in the majority, aren't they?
Oh, the SNP totally rule the Scottish Parliament. That's why she keeps saying they've got a mandate. We've got a mandate for Scotland in Parliament. They have. What am I wrong about, Stephen? It's MSPs today, isn't it?
Yeah, Stephen, if you
And by the way, I'm
if you can
Scottish.
explain this. He's not ours. He's our friend. He just happens to be Scottish. By an act of fate. I just brought up there. I brought up the picture that you love seeing, Peter, which was of the leader of the SNP.
Yeah. It's all mixed up.
Peter, I'm sorry to say this, but I think you're wrong because
I've maybe got it mixed up right enough.
Council
Right, okay.
elections in
Right,
Scotland.
thank you. It's the Scottish Council elections today. Right, okay. I'm not surprised we're confused. How many votes have we had in the last couple of years?
Yeah, well, the thing is, we had a double vote. That was the problem. We had the local elections last time, I believe, and we also had the MSPs last time as well. Yeah, so there you go. So it's local elections. My apologies. Yeah.
Right, okay, we're allowed to make mistakes. We're here to explore the possibilities. Stephen, you were cut off then, sorry.
Do you remember during, it's happened twice where Andrew Neil has had a diatribe about bombers. It happened during 7/7 and it happened a few weeks ago with the things. They're on YouTube. Mm-hmm. And it was absolutely beautiful, a beautiful set of words. He really got across his contempt for these people. And that's why I think that can we start a campaign which says, get Neil onto Corbyn, May, and no, it's not Clegg, is it? It's
Farron.
What's the lad called?
Farron.
You
can't remember his name. That's how high.
Because he's insignificant.
Call him Mr. Farron.
I think we should start getting support for getting Andrew Neil or getting them all in front of Andrew Neil one-on-one.
Right. So rather than debates, it should be an in-depth interview with real questions, and you're not allowed to pontificate.
Yeah, and I mentioned it. I did a Twitter poll right at the beginning, and I asked of this campaign, and I asked, should we actually get people to just stop the bloody interview? You've not done it. Off. That'd
be great TV.
Pardon?
That would be good. That would be great TV.
I want it to be a sword by which you say to them, if you don't answer the question, or if you go into Boris speak, or any nonsense, you just lose. You get a yellow card, right? You get a yellow card, and if they don't do it, if they do it again, get rid of them.
The problem is with these debates. The interviewer has usually got some sort of bias. You can know which way they go, and that's very difficult because how can you really aggressively grill a Tory if you're a Tory yourself? That's the problem.
That's the Nick Robinson question, I think.
Yeah, so that's the problem.
Indeed.
Very difficult.
On that note, and the agenda note, which is vote today. Today is elections across the UK. If you can vote, do vote, because every vote does count. We agree on that, don't we?
And if you don't vote, you've nothing to say. That's it. Accept your lot. Don't dare say anything back. I'm not voting today, by the
way. I actually showed that full screen, Peter, so that you can't say it was somebody doing a ventriloquist act because you actually caught on screen. Well, I'm going to say that I am voting today, and I'm voting for the person because this is a local election. So that gives me a get out clause. And
what's interesting?
Get out clause. You're voting for a Lib Dem, presumably?
We don't have a Lib Dem stand in every ward.
What? What sort of a party do you call that, Pete?
Just a minute. We live in Devizes. In 2002, Devizes Town Council, in their wisdom, decided that in the town centre, which was adorned with beautiful trees, that they would cut down all the trees. The following local elections, a party was set up. It's called the Guardians. And their aim is to look after devisers. And because people were so upset to the trees being cut down, the council is now run by the Guardians, whose sole purpose, they're cross-party, and their sole purpose is to look after devisers. So they're in the majority. And it's like trying to vote, well, I'm not voting, well, I'm not going to say who I'm voting for, but let's just say this is not a Labour town, it's not a Conservative town, and it's not a Liberal town. It's a Guardian town where the local people are the ones who've been elected.
Let me tell you my dilemma. I live in a street, got about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, about 7 doors along is the local Liberal Democrat councillor.
Okay.
And I've also got a friend of mine who is my local SNP councillor. And you know which side that I lean towards. So I've got a dilemma, because let me tell you, the Liberal Democrat does a lot for my community. So I have got a big dilemma. He even signed my air rifle licence for me, because Scotland last year has to get an air rifle licence, and I need it for our job, you see. And it's so handy just being along the road from me, and he does a lot for the community. In fact, I don't think he's ever had a real job in his life. Since he left school, he's been with the Liberal Democrats. I don't think no, I'm only joking. But so that's the dilemma. And when it comes to that local, I think if you're a good personality, you'll get, and that's why there's a lot of people actually standing as independents now. My job is to look after the people like the Guardians, and locally they've said, I'll look after you locally, which the parties don't like. And then to get the votes, they've to start getting schmoozy with independents, because we've got one in Aberdeen here where the local top councillor, Mr. Young, is always in the paper, and there's a big commotion because a wall was put up beside his dad's house, and the council have paid £200,000 for it. So that's being looked into. So it's quite locals' problems, you know.
Indeed, it is local elections, and they are today. If you can vote, do vote. And Stephen, Peter, and I will be back at the same time next week with another show. But we have somewhere else to go in about 6 minutes. So thank you for joining us. We'll be back with Loving for Britain in 6 minutes. Okay, guys.
Yeah,
Thank you, everybody who watched, took part, made comments, and we love you, and we'll see you next week.
And do you know something? I've just got a letter in.